The FIFA Women's World Cup 2031 will be the most expansive in history. 48 nations, millions of fans, billions of viewers. It demands host nations that can deliver not just ambition, but impact. The United States, Mexico, Costa Rica, and Jamaica are those nations. Together, our bid combines world-class venues, deep-rooted partnerships, and a shared belief in what the women's game can achieve. Our stadiums stand ready to host. Our fans are the heartbeat of the game. Our market set the global standard for media, ticketing, and sponsorship potential in women's sports. This bid is about leadership, built to raise the bar. Leadership inequality. The U.S. pioneered equal pay for national teams, and our countries are glowing examples of the fast-evolving women's professional game. Leadership in development. Millions of girls engaging and growing with the game. Leadership and inspiration. From the roaring crowds in 1999 to soccer in all forms across our region, we're proving what's possible. With 4 nations for the first time in history and one shared commitment, we're ready to deliver a tournament that is inspiring, sustainable, and record-breaking. This is not just a strong bid. It's one that sets new benchmarks for what women's sport can achieve in attendance, investment, and legacy. For now, we are ready to lead. For next, we are building the future of the game. Aligned with FIFA's goals for growth, inclusion, and global excellence, 2031 will be a monumental acceleration point for women's football. Let's make it the tournament the world remembers for generations to come.
Hello, everyone. I love it. It's like the good old days. As I was coming up here, Abby said, go get them. Just like we did playing back in the day together. But it is so great to be here tonight with our colleagues from FIFA, CONCACAF, our incredible co-hosts from Mexico, Costa Rica, and Jamaica, and so many of our sponsors, our partners, leaders, and friends from across our game. You know, being here in New York every time takes me back to the opening match of the 1999 Women's World Cup just across the river in New Jersey. I was a quiet 21-year-old, and as usual, I was sitting silently in the bus next to Mia Hamm, Carla Overbeck, Julie Foudy, all these incredible icons of the game. We're on the way to the game, and all of a sudden, we notice we're stuck in traffic. We are barely moving, and we're all kind of like looking around at each other. We're getting nervous. We're looking at our watches, thinking we're going to be late to the game, and we're wondering, why in the hell is there so much traffic? And then there's this moment when we all realize at the same time, this traffic was for our match. People were honking at us, had their car windows painted red, white, and blue. Everyone's wearing Mia Hamm jerseys. And our opening match of the Women's World Cup was sold out with 80,000 fans, something most people didn't think was possible. Yeah. But thankfully, a lot has changed since 1999. First, I'm a little less quiet, but more importantly, thank you for that. More importantly, women's soccer is thriving. We have 2 Division I professional leagues in the United States. Stadiums sell out. Broadcasters are paying record rights fees. Sponsors see women's soccer as one of the best investment in sports. People everywhere are waking up to what soccer can be. Not just here in the US, but across CONCACAF and around the world. Now, as the only bidders for the FIFA 2031 Women's World Cup, I admit I like our chances. When we are officially selected, we'll work with FIFA to deliver the biggest, most impactful women's sporting event in history. We're proud to lead this bid, and we chose to do it together with our CONCACAF partners because this moment is bigger than any one country. For Costa Rica and Jamaica, this will be the first World Cup matches ever held in their countries. For Mexico, this will be the first time hosting Women's World Cup matches. And for all of us, And for all of us, it's a chance to showcase the diversity, the passion, and potential of our entire region. We already have tremendous excitement as more than 30 US cities have expressed interest in hosting matches. But what excites me most isn't just putting on a world-class tournament, it's the legacy we will create. Because this Women's World Cup will be equal in every sense of the word to a Men's World Cup. Not just in the number of teams and matches, but equal in the quality of the facilities with the same type of travel, accommodations, and support. In 1999, our legacy was growing the women's game here in the US. In 2031, our legacy will be inspiring every country to embrace and invest in women's soccer. Not because it's the right thing to do, but it's the smart thing to do. It's a smart investment. There is extraordinary opportunity to grow the women's game around the world, and we want this World Cup to help unlock that potential. Together with FIFA, we'll create a global legacy fund to help every member association accelerate growth for women and girls around the world. Because this World Cup isn't just for now, it's for what comes next. Before I close, I want to take a moment to thank President Victor Montagliani. He is the president of CONCACAF and vice president of FIFA. He couldn't be here tonight, but Victor's leadership and partnership have been absolutely incredible. The first time I mentioned to him that we wanted to bid for the Women's World Cup and that we hoped to do it alongside our CONCACAF partners, he didn't hesitate for a second. He jumped in immediately, offered his full support, and has been one of the strongest advocates for our vision from day one. So thank you, Victor. At this point, I'd like to invite up to the stage our co-host who will help bring this instrumental event to the US, Mexico, not Canada, Mexico, Jamaica, and Costa Rica. Mikel, Michael, Osel, please join me. Represents the passion, leadership, and commitment that will make this World Cup so special. Back in 1999, we didn't really know what was possible. Now we do. And along with CONCACAF, Mexico, Costa Rica, and Jamaica, we're ready to change the women's game again. Not just for the United States, not just for our 4 countries, but for the entire world. Thank you.
All righty. Now, we have to continue the party, obviously, with current and former players. That's where the party really is, both on and off the pitch. And so no better way to celebrate such a historic moment than by speaking to an incredible group of current and former players. Some that laid the groundwork and some that will be enjoying the moment, hopefully on the pitch. And so I want to introduce to you our current and former players, now panelists as well right now, to the stage, and I will introduce them once we all sit down. So first, Kelly, you can do it, yeah.
Here we are.
So to my left is Kelly O'Hara, former U.S. women's national team player.
Hi, everybody. I don't know if this is...
And we have Andrea Rolebao, former Mexican women's national team player. We have Shayna Matthews, former Jamaican national team player. Alexandra Pinel, current Costa Rican women's national team player. And Abby Wambach, former. We all get excited. Former U.S. women's national team player. So I'm first going to kick off this panel with a question for you, Kelly.
You've started off.
I know.
I feel like we're at a pep rally, guys. I'm so excited to be here. This is so fun.
Set the groundwork.
Yeah.
You've lived so many defining moments in your career in the sport. Early days of the NWSL. We know you've been through a lot. And then standing and playing on the world's biggest stage. You're one of only a few players to feature in 4 Women's World Cups. And you, of course, scored that goal in the 2015 semifinal, in which you guys eventually won that Women's World Cup. Abby is still celebrating, by the way. Which I do think U.S., you guys beat us, Colombia, in that Women's World Cup. So
Let's put up a good fight, though.
Thank you. That's usually the case. Thank you. Okay, so as we look ahead to 2031, when the U.S. will be a co-host of the projected, what is to be one of the biggest moments in women's sports and Women's World Cup history, what will that moment feel like for you, and what excites you the most about where the game is going?
Man, I think it's nothing short of monumental. I was a kid of the 99ers generation. So the first time I ever saw female athletes on television was the 1996 Olympics. It was hosted in Atlanta, watched the gymnastics team. Then fast forward 3 years later, 99 World Cup. First time I saw women's soccer on television. And I watched that tournament, that final, the Brandy Chastain moment, and that moment truly changed my life forever. That's the reason I went on to be able to do the things that I was able to do on the field, but that was the catalyst, to be able to see that moment and see female athletes at that level, the visibility, the exposure, the investment, all of that behind it in this one tournament. So to think that, 32 years, am I doing the math right? 32 years later, we have the potential to run it back and do it again. And the reality is the game is in such a different place than it was in the 90s, but it still is just at the beginning, in my opinion, in this country and for women's soccer. So this tournament has the ability to change the global landscape, but also the landscape for individuals, little girls, little boys in all 4 of our countries, but also across the globe. And like you said, and everyone has said, the scale at which this tournament is going to get put on, the media landscape, the infrastructure, the investment, all those things are going to change so many sectors around the game and be a launch pad for what comes next. And I'm gonna be honest, you guys kind of did a really good job of not letting anyone know about the fact that Jamaica and Costa Rica were joining the bid.
Y'all didn't know?
No. So when we showed up, I was chatting, and to hear that is now what this tournament is going to look like, I can't even imagine the impact it's going to have in the U.S. and Mexico, Costa Rica, and Jamaica. It's incredible, and honestly, it scares me what the future of Jamaica and Costa Rica is going to look like because of what this tournament will do for the game in their country.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We love that.
So I'm excited.
In other words, no, you're right. The competition just keeps growing and growing, which is making the game a better place, a level equity, a playing field where, all these national teams can have a shot, at these big tournaments. So it's definitely exciting. Andrea, a question for you, and I'm going to say this in English and in Spanish. You captain Mexico's national team in their first ever Women's World Cup in 1999, and now lead the women's national programs as director of women's national teams in Mexico. As you reflect on that journey, what lessons from the past do you think are going to be valuable as we all build towards 2031 and beyond? Fuiste la capitana de la selección mexicana de fútbol femenil en su primera Copa Mundial del 99. Y ahora diriges los programas nacionales femeninas como directora de las selecciones femeninas de México. Reflexionando todo lo que has recorrido en tu carrera como deportista y ahora como directora, ¿qué lecciones del pasado consideras más valiosas mientras nos preparamos y avanzamos hacia el 2031 y más allá?
Bueno, muy buenas tardes y muchas gracias por estar aquí. Yo lo digo seguido y lo voy a decir otra vez aquí, que mi generación y cuando yo era jugadora, nosotras jugábamos por el derecho a jugar fútbol, ¿no? Creo que el hecho de que estemos aquí promoviendo un mundial con 4 sedes es muestra de que ese objetivo pues, se ha logrado, ¿no? Sin embargo, esa lucha ha cambiado de enfoque, ¿no? Hoy día esa lucha se convierte en la lucha de vivir del fútbol como mujer, es decir, que sea profesional, no solo dentro del campo para las jugadoras, sino también para los y las entrenadoras, para las árbitras, para las preparadoras físicas, para las psicólogas, ¿no? Para todas las partes involucradas dentro del juego. Y para ello, lo que se requiere es que se ponga a la jugadora en el centro de todas las decisiones que se tomen, ¿no? Y su bienestar. Y eso implica rodearla también de especialistas, de profesionales, expertos en sus áreas, para darles a ella el apoyo que necesitan para brillar, ¿no? Entonces yo diría que el mensaje pues, es claro, ¿no? Tenemos que encaminar hoy día el fútbol hacia un profesionalismo para que las niñas, las mujeres puedan hacer del fútbol una forma de vida.
Genial.
Sí.
Gracias.
Entonces yo creo que sería... En esa época pues era muy diferente a esta. Hoy día cada país está en un momento muy diferente, pero tenemos que tener claro hacia dónde va esto, ¿no? Y es hacia el profesionalismo.
Gracias. Y me encanta lo que tú dices, el enfoque es de la jugadora más que todo, sí, para que tengan el apoyo que necesitan para que sigan desarrollando el fútbol de su propio país.
Para que puedan brillarse.
Thank you. Shayna. You began your career in the U.S. and went on to represent Jamaica in the 2019 Women's World Cup. We were just chatting about it, how incredible that experience was, and as well as the 2023 Women's World Cup. By doing so, you have a really unique experience, life experience, true understanding of the game that bridges cultures and celebrates the spirit of women's football, which we all know here, women's football, it celebrates cultures, it bridges cultures, and it's really a global celebration. Now, as we look to 2031, how can this moment ensure the progress reaches every federation, not just those with, of course, the largest platforms and resources?
Thank you for that question. Well, first thing I want to say is, as a little girl, I didn't even think it would be possible to be on the stage with this many legendary players current. I'm just so excited I could get emotional about it. But thank you guys for being here, and I'm obviously still giving back to the game. I remember when I was younger, I actually saw Kelly play in high school. We're both.
You're aging, man.
We both.
But I appreciate.
I grew up actually going to local games first, so we both grew up in the south side of Atlanta. So, been watching her for a long time. Followed her to Stanford, and she doesn't realize that some of the moments that I saw her play were what made me realize. Fast forward to, having a little success in youth soccer, I got to go, I forget what country we're in, but boom, Abby was playing. And so I got to see her play, and it just kept reminding me that it was possible to play on the biggest stage one day. So this bid means so much, I think, for players, current players, future players, but I think the youth, it's going to be unbelievable. I think the exposure, I think just the commitment to infrastructure, like Kelly mentioned, to jobs that it's going to bring, I think even in Jamaica, like thinking about the stadium, which will probably be National Stadium, I'm assuming, the amount of jobs, the amount of exposure for young girls, and I can imagine in other countries, this would be just super, super exciting. So I think it's important. I think that this is the beginning also because the gap has been so large for so long. And we've seen in the last couple of World Cups, you know, that's Colombia beat us. So we're seeing.
We got one.
We're seeing, but we are seeing a difference, I think, in just what that kind of exposure will do from even 2019 to what we were able to do in 2023. And so I'm just really looking forward to that side, one, the inspiration, but the development, and then obviously the resources when it comes to investment.
I'm sure you're going to continue giving back to the game. Amazing. Alexandra, primero en inglés y luego en español. And I'm sorry, I should have announced before, maybe take out like the AI Otter, aka Otter, shout out to Otter, I use that all the time, for like translations if you want to hear it. So you scored the very first goal at the FIFA U20 Women's World Cup just a few years ago in 2022. An incredible strike from a distance, y'all. You got to watch that back on replay in front of your home crowd. And you are going to bring back the Women's World Cup back to your home country, and this time on the biggest stage. As someone representing the next generation of players, what does it mean to be part of this new era of global growth and what you're most looking forward to as the game is changing and progressing? Marcaste el primer gol en la Copa Mundial Sub-20 femenino en el 2022, que fue un golazo, un increíble disparo desde una larga distancia en tu país, en tu casa, en frente de tu afición, que me imagino fue algo emocionante para usted. Ahora, en unos años, tu país va a disfrutar otro mundial, y esta vez en el escenario más grande del mundo, pues el Mundial de Mayores. Como representante de la próxima generación de jugadoras, ¿qué significa para ti ser parte de esta nueva era de crecimiento global? ¿Y qué es lo que más te emociona ver cambiar o desarrollar en el fútbol femenino hacia el 2031?
Buenas tardes para todos. Un gusto estar acá con ustedes, un honor y un privilegio. Bueno, creo yo que fue una experiencia inolvidable. Creo que anotar en nuestro estadio con toda nuestra afición fue muy emocionante para mí, un momento muy lindo para mí, para todas mis compañeras. Anotar a estadio lleno, la mejor sensación que una jugadora puede sentir. Yo creo que eso fue como un momento que marcó mi vida. De ahí en adelante pues vinieron muchas cosas buenas para mí, y bueno, nada, yo creo que al vivir esa experiencia pues nos damos cuenta de lo importante que es tener un mundial en nuestra casa. Creo yo que muy emocionados y muy contentos de pues poder recibir la Copa del Mundo en nuestro país y poderles llevar el pura vida a todo el mundo. Y bueno, para mí pues representar esta nueva generación es muy importante. Creo yo que bueno, primero es darle valor a todo lo que han hecho todas ellas por nosotras, que creo yo que fueron las que nos abrieron el camino. Y bueno, creo que ahora nos toca a nosotras seguir aportándole al fútbol femenino, a las nuevas niñas que vienen en crecimiento, darles más herramientas para que ellas vayan desarrollándose. Y nada, muy feliz, muy contentos de poder tener la Copa del Mundo en Costa Rica.
Arriba Costa Rica. Abby, you remain the U.S. Women's National Team all-time leading scorer.
Woo!
With how many goals?
184. But Christine Sinclair has now overtaken me, so I'm number 2 in the world. So
Okay.
I got to give credit to Christine.
But number 1 in the U.S.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
But-
Let's make that clear.
Yeah. Great.
Your advocacy and leadership has incredibly inspired an entire generation. You've seen it here from their responses, even in my career as well. And I bet sometimes you look back and maybe even see, your impact. If you could fast forward to the closing ceremony of the 2031 FIFA Women's World Cup, what do you hope the world will say this tournament represented, not just for women's soccer, but also for women's leadership globally?
I love this question because the first time I went to an NWSL game this year, it was at Angel City, and I walked into this stadium, and it was earlier this year. Our country is going through quite a bit of turmoil right now since the election, and it was the first time I felt like I took a real breath. I'd been like holding my breath. And that, for me, is what sport is. It's a place where we get to go, where we get to be in community with each other, regardless of who you voted for. And we get to cheer on this thing. So to me, a World Cup, a World Championship, a game is an opportunity for us to be in community without having to talk about all of the politics. Women in general, as they walk through the world, is a political act. Women on a soccer field is even more of a political act. Saying to the world, I deserve to be here. And I think that our U.S. women's national team has fought so hard and for so long. In 1999, FIFA didn't believe that the team could play in big football stadiums. And the organizing committee and the players said, no, we can do this. We will figure out how to sell this thing out. And they went from literal training field, practice field, little kids from the bus. They'd be going to practice, they'd be going to the training session, and they would stop at a park and get out the entire team and go meet and talk to and take pictures with these little kids. And so it was this really unique, beautiful grassroots marketing that then led into all of those tickets and the 90,000 plus people in the Rose Bowl cheering on the United States to their victory. What I hope at the end of this tournament, obviously that the United States wins, sorry.
Yes.
But more than that, I hope that the image of these four countries being able to be in community with each other, I hope that the tourism and the jobs created and the resources that all of these federations will be able to share is a show to the world what is actually possible when we come together around a common goal, a common idea, a common belief that this one thing that we're here to do is to express each other's personalities and joy and strength on the field. And no matter what happens, we all leave champions because of it. And so that is my sincere hope. And I'm so, I'm like Kelly, I was surprised to hear that Jamaica and Costa Rica got in. But my gosh, I'm so excited because I get to go to these places and be in community with the kids there and hopefully get to inspire me, not me, but the players on the team will get to inspire the next generation. The kids who are like Kelly watching that 99 Women's World Cup going, that is something that I want to do, because it started at some point in the United States. And my hope and dream is that it can start in the same way for these other countries. I'm so excited. Really, really glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Talk about mic drop. Yeah, let's go. Well, that wraps up our panel, and really want to thank all of you for being here, and for you guys as well for talking to us about what it's been like for you, but then also what is the look ahead. Being in your perspective seats under leadership, broadcasting, players, leadership. Abby now is into broadcasting now. Shout out the new pod in the media world. Welcome, by the way. But I think, what's to come ahead is incredibly exciting, be it whether it's the four federations, even from us outside of the other federations. What is going on in the global of women's soccer? I think we all see it and feel it here in the room. It's unity, it's power, it's a common goal, and we're so excited for what's to come.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
I just want to thank you,
Yeah, I was
Melissa,
about to do that.
because
Good job.
your representation
So good.
Obviously, you're incredible at what you do on the sidelines and on television, but to show up at things like this and like the dedication
Don't make me cry.
that you have for this sport, like this matters, right? And having a woman in your position to be able to speak in the way that you do, and I just am so grateful. So thank you for doing it.
Who has tissues? Oh my God. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Thank you so much, Abby, honestly.
Thank you guys.
Yeah,
Wow,
thank you.
thank you all. Thank you. I feel like I had another